Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
All right, it looks like Howard's got his hand raised first. So Howard, if you're there and ready to go, you can go ahead with Coach Moren.
I am. Good morning. Good morning,
Good
Coach.
morning.
Good to
Morning.
see you as always.
Yeah.
Got a couple for you. When Mackenzie talked about her first meeting with you, she said it was like a random open gym scenario up in Maine. Take me through that, what you remember of that moment, and just kind of your first impressions of her as a player.
Well, we already knew that the only reason I would have gone to Maine is because we knew we wanted her to be a part of our program here. It wasn't really an evaluation. It was more just, doing what we have to do, and that's showing an interest level, and just making the effort to be seen by her, because we knew it was going to take an awful lot to get her out of the state of Maine. So certainly we wanted there to give her the impression that we were going to be, all about relationships and making sure that she did choose to come to Indiana, that she was going to be, enjoy or coming into a family and a family away from family.
And I guess just related to that, to see kind of the impact that she's had in the state of Maine for basketball, how significant do you think having these types of signature players come out of states is for growing the game? You guys are obviously going to play in front of a crowd tomorrow that is not usually what you'd see in the state of Maine prior to this.
Yeah, I mean, I think, players, come from all different types, of different places around this country. And, I don't know that anybody expected Mackenzie Holmes to become what Mac has become. And, we were just lucky enough that she chose to come here, and she has done what we've asked her to do, and that is work. And, we knew that she had some God-given talent. But we also knew that, she was going to have to transform her body, get stronger. She was going to have to mature, get tougher mentally. And so, she allowed us to push her. She allowed us to challenge her and coach her hard. Mac has always wanted that. And so I think, tomorrow night is great that we can take Mac back to her roots and, have her just the opportunity to play in front of family and friends. I think is going to be really special. The one thing I got to worry about with Mac, though, is she'll be overhyped. And, the biggest thing for Mackenzie is just to be Mac. And she doesn't have to be extraordinary. She needs to stay out of foul trouble. That's what she needs to do.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Travis, go ahead. You're on mute there, Travis.
Hey, Terry. Travis Lee from WMTW Portland, Maine. Thank you for obliging all the Maine media over the years with Mac questions. I got a couple more for you.
Sure.
Quickly, in terms of her coming back this year, was there ever a discussion between the two of you in the off season, or was it kind of a?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Was there a discussion about her coming back for this season? Was that just always kind of a given, or did you, I guess, just, you could share anything about, that process?
Yeah, I think, I think back to, what were we, the Sweet 16, playing, we just had lost to UConn, and I think somebody had asked her the question about, coming back to Indiana. And I think Mac's quote was something like, I'll be in this jersey as long as they tell me I can't be. And so, or I'll wear this as long as they tell me, that I can't any longer. And so I think that was a really good indicator for us that, she was gonna come back, and she was gonna play at Indiana as long as she could play at Indiana. She's not rare. I think there's a lot of kids out there these days that, especially on the women's side, that Max so enjoys college, and loves Bloomington, loves this university. The university loves her so much as well as the community. And so I think for Mackenzie, it was never even a question, the opportunity. Certainly NIL has made things a little bit more appealing for some of these young ladies to stay around. But I think regardless of NIL, if it wasn't even a factor, she still would have stayed. And so, yeah, she and I really didn't have a hard discussion about it. I just think it was just kind of unspoken that I think that she was going to we all felt like she was going to return for her last season.
Okay, a quick follow up to that. What do you see as her pro potential?
Again, Mac is going to have to. I think she'll have a chance. But we've seen there's been a lot of really good post players that have come out of the Big Ten that have either not stuck on her roster, and I think it'll really come down to what Mac wants, and if she wants to look at becoming a pro. If she doesn't, she's had a terrific college experience, and so. She and I haven't sat down and really had much discussion, just like Grace Berger and I didn't have much discussion about what was next. Mac is all about being in the moment. And so she was on this call, she would tell you, I'm not even thinking about what's going to happen next for me. But no, she certainly is talented. She, is efficient. I think she could be on a roster. I think she could fit well on a roster. Around the right group of not just guards, but in the right system, I guess, in the right organization, the right franchise that values somebody that's going to come in and just play a role, so we'll see. I think time will tell, when Matt gets the end of, this season and she stays healthy as we expect her to, what she'll want to do. But right now we're all trying just to be in the moment and enjoy her as long as we have her here.
So thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Seth and then Matthew.
I have a couple for you. I guess first, I'll let you answer the first, but obviously this game is kind of all about Mackenzie, like going back home. I'm kind of wondering over the last few days as you prep for this game, just how the rest of the team has kind of reacted towards, this game, Mackenzie's kind of homecoming game. Like, has it been kind of, Mackenzie saying, oh, this is what to expect in this place, yada, or like, just how kind of the rest of the team kind of reacted to this?
Seth, I don't know. I think the kids have probably had one-off conversations, not in front of us. But, if I had to guess, I think they're probably excited that Mac gets to come, go home and play in front of her friends and their family. Yeah, I think we just always looked at what's next. What the next game is, where our focus has been. And look, this is a really good Maine team. They play 5 out. There's some challenges defensively for us. And so our focus has been less about it's a homecoming for Mac, more about we're going to have to guard and put a good scouting report plan together in order to, go up there and take care of business the way that we want to. And so, yeah, it is less about the fanfare, I guess, and more about the work. It's another business trip for us. And I think that's how we're all approaching it, including Mac. So yeah, I said, I'm not privy to some of their conversation. I'm sure they've talked about it. I'm sure Mac has shared with them. I think that's where some of her state final games were, Megan. Is that true? I think.
Yes, that's correct. Yep. 3 of them.
Yeah. So, but she's excited. You can imagine, she's excited. Yeah. And I think her teammates are excited for her.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously this isn't to say anything about Maine at all, but it's not, it's not often that, programs like Indiana go and play road games like this at programs like Maine. Obviously, there's the Mackenzie factor, but why is it so important for you to play a road game like this?
Well, the only reason it's happening is because of Mackenzie. One of the things that we try to do with all the kids that we recruit, especially from different parts of the country, is I always try to schedule a game that's close enough where their mom and dad families can get to them, can watch them play, because some of them don't have either the means or the time to be able to fly into Indianapolis and drive into Bloomington every weekend that we play home. And so, it's more just, of a gesture we try to make, for some of those kids. We told Mac, when we recruited her, that at some point we'd try to get her as close as we could back home, in order for everybody to be able to see her play. And so that's how this all transpired. But I never think it's a bad thing to go on the road and have to, because it's a different deal. It's a different deal than being able to play in the hall in front of 8,000, 9,000 fans versus, and again, I think there'll be a good crowd tomorrow night. But, I think the trip down south to Florida was really good for us. I think this is, again, will be a really good trip for us, really good challenge on the road, away from Simon Scott Assembly Hall, because we know that there's going to be more down the road, when we start Big Ten play.
Matthew, and then Skip.
Hi, Terry.
Hi.
You picked up 2 quality wins down in Florida. What do you think is kind of the next big step for this team moving forward?
Just to continue to get better. We as I called it our toughness meter. It's trending in the right direction. It's one of the things I think we've lacked early, and not just in the Stanford game. I thought, we've lacked it in moments against Murray, Eastern Illinois. Just that we were playing softer than we normally play. And so I loved our toughness down there. And it showed up in a lot of ways, not just rebounding. I think, you have to be tough to get in that second half with Princeton. And they slow you down by that 3/4 court press that they put on you. There's a toughness that you have to have in order to execute, against that, and not turn it over and try to get good shots. And so I liked what I saw from this group in terms of how they handled themselves. They didn't panic, but also their toughness. I liked how gritty they were defensively, especially against Tennessee, winning the boards. That was huge for us. And so I think it's continuing to stack up, all of those, things that we can't just, as I said to them, it can't just be on the day that we play Tennessee that we decide we're going to keep everybody off the glass, and we're going to get to 50-50 balls, and we're going to just have this toughness about us. Like that has to travel with us wherever we are. And so that's what I'm looking for, that meter to continue to trend in the direction that, we were a year ago, when I thought, dang, we're pretty tough. And I always felt like that was such a great intangible that we had, and helped us win a lot of games.
Skip, and then Drew.
Good morning, Coach.
Hi, Skip.
A lot of attention this season so far, given, and rightfully so, given to Mac and to Yarden and to Sarah. Chloe, she's not been a headline in the box scores this season, but she's providing a lot of intangibles from watching these games, especially on the defensive side. And it looks like she's really helping to set some of that defensive tone. Talk about some of the intangibles that she is bringing to the table, and from what you've seen so far this season, talk about something that you like that you're seeing from her, and perhaps also something that she needs to work on to up her presence.
Well, first off, the intangible you're speaking of is she is tough. Now, that's where our toughness starts there. A year ago, it was Grace Berger was our toughness. Chloe is our toughness. And we got to have more of her teammates need to show up in the way that she shows up, with that level of toughness that she plays with night in and night out. When she's guarding, the other opposing teams, better guard or best guard, usually the point guard out there. But I'll say this, Skip, and I told her this after the game. She stuck 2 short jumpers, one against Tennessee and one against Princeton. And when it happened, I always used to think back to like, when Grace would do that, things would start to feel a little bit like, they're making a run at you. And then there's this big basket, and it was usually Grace Berger just sticking a short jumper. And you felt like we're going to win this game, right? We are in control. Chloe did that against Tennessee for us. She also did that against Princeton for us. And I reminded her that there's only been one other player, and it was Grace Berger, who would make me feel at ease that we were going to win games by making a shot. All right. In those moments. And she's been able to, I think, put me at ease at times. Because, a year ago, I depended so much on Grace Berger to get down the stretch when those games were tight, and either make a play or make the right play. And I think this weekend, Chloe made 2 major plays, and you guys probably, because Yarden shot the ball so well, Sarah was on fire, that you forget that inside of all those games, there's a basket that always kind of like, solidifies like, yeah, we're going to finish this thing out. And for me, it was Chloe that made both of those shots for us. And, what she has to continue to get better at is her leadership. She has to get more aggressive. We need her to be more productive, I think, on the offensive side of the ball for us. Because look, those same shots that we hit down in Florida were the same shots we got in Stanford. And they didn't fall in Stanford, but they fell in Florida. And so you have 2 way different outcomes, right? And so we need Chloe to continue to be offensively aggressive for us, and a major player on that side of the ball. Drew.
Hey, Coach, Drew Bonifant with the Portland Press Herald. You talked about how this is always a goal for this team to get out-of-state players a chance to play close to their home environments. But in terms of getting the ball rolling with this game in particular, what kind of got the ball rolling? Was it Mackenzie saying, hey, for my senior year, I'd like to get a game if we could swing it, or did you call Maine? Did Maine get in touch with you? How did it how did it kind of come to be?
Well, the props need to go to our basketball operations director, Liz Honiger. She oversees our scheduling. And so, Liz puts together our schedule. Of course, she gets the sign off from me that it's good to go or we're good to go. And so, I don't know if Maine reached out to Liz, or maybe perhaps Liz, they were looking for a game, and that turned into, it being not obviously at Maine, but in Portland and so forth. And I don't know, you being from there, is this the type of game that they do every year in Portland? Does anybody know the answer to that?
I'm not sure how often they've done it in Portland. They've had, and actually, I was going to say they've had chances to play with ranked teams in previous years, but they've usually gone out there. I was talking to Amy yesterday, and she said that they did somewhat recently have a team come up here. I can't remember what team she mentioned, but no, I would think it's pretty rare to get games like this up this way.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, Drew. Like I said, I think Liz. Well, I know Liz was the one that brought it to me and said this would be an opportunity for us to get Mac home. What do you think? And I think we thought it was a good thing. And so she really was instrumental in making it all happen. Mac and I, we never even talked about it. Matter of fact, I don't think she found out until maybe the schedule came out, or this summer sometime. And both, mom and dad obviously were real excited. And then Mac, I think she got a little emotional about, going home, which was kind of cool.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Thanks.